What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Joe Morley Sports Show. I'm going to try some new stuff here on YouTube. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through team by team and give you a little bit of insight on each one of the teams and what I think about them. Today I'm going to start with the Cincinnati Bengals. How about that? So we'll start with the Bengals. I did a podcast on them. I was going to do a podcast on each one of them, and then I came up with this idea. So this is what you get to see. So the Cincinnati Bengals is where I'm going to start, and we're going to start with the preview of basically their 2020 season. So here's their head coach. Is it a head coach hot seat? I think it has to be. Zac Taylor, it was his first year last year. He went 2-14. He was the Rams quarterback coach during that Super Bowl run where they ended up losing. He's only 37 years old, but he's supposed to be like an offensive genius, right? He's supposed to be from that McVay coaching tree where everybody's trying to chase the next Sean McVay. I'm not sure. I didn't see it. I really didn't like when I watched the Bengal game last year. I didn't like what I saw from them, and it has to stem from him, right? So he might be on the hot seat. I think if the Bengals do not show a little bit improvement and wins are two different things. So don't get me wrong. If I say a team is improved or a team, if a team is improved, that means they're better, and that's what you got to look at. You got to look at the improvements. Sometimes wins won't come, and they can improve, but they won't get those wins because they're still not there yet. But you have to look for the improvement in the team over the wins, and that's what you got to see. So say the Bengals go 2-14 again right now this season, but they looked better than last year. That's what you got to look at, because the wins will eventually come as the team gets better and better. Let's see. So this is last year. This is the team rankings of last year. Offense was 26th in the league. Defense 29th in the league. So yeah, of course you're going to go 2-14. You're not going to win a lot of games right there. They started 0-11. Finally got their first win. But you got to remember, Andy Dalton started 13 games for him. Which Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback. He's going to go be the backup in Dallas. He's not a bad quarterback, but he can't win it all by himself, right? Mixon wasn't 100% last year. And when Mixon was in the game, he only played 60% of the snaps. A.J. Green never recovered, never showed up. The offensive line gave up 48 sacks. Turnovers killed the offense, and the defense couldn't create turnovers, so that hurt them. 9 games, that rushing right there, offensive rushing of 25th in the league. Well, in 9 games, they were held under 100 yards, so they didn't get 100 yards. But the last 2 weeks of the season, and maybe this gives a little hope to the Bengal fans, the last 2 seasons, they scored 35 points and then 33 points. So you might have that going for you, but you never know. So let's go. So next year, this 2020 quarterback is going to be Joe Burrow, the number 1 pick in the draft. So, of course, he has no stats from last year, but he did win the national championship with LSU. And if you don't know Joe Burrow, he was at Ohio State for 3 years. Didn't do squat. Went to LSU, which turned out to be a great idea for him. Spent 2 years there. In the 2 years there, he had a 68.5% completion rated. He had 76 touchdown throws, 11 interceptions. He threw for 8,565 yards, but he also ran for 767 yards and 12 TDs in 2 seasons at LSU. So to say that, Andy Dalton was a good quarterback. Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. But this is just bringing somebody fresh in, somebody that could change the culture and give you more hope. So now the Bengal fans have hope because Andy Dalton was like that record that kept going. You already knew all the lyrics, but you liked it, but it was kind of getting old, right? So now you bring that fresh record in, and that's what Joe Burrow is basically going to do. So here's the superstars that I like on the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know A.J. Green. He has to come back 100%. He didn't play at all last year, but when he does play, he's one of the best receivers in the league. 6 out of the 8 years that he played, he had over 1,000 yards receiving. He has 63 career touchdowns, and he's 6'4". What a big target for that rookie quarterback, right? Joe Mixon, another guy I like. Last year, in a down year, hurt, injured year, no offensive line, he still ran for 1,137 yards, and he caught 287 receiving yards and 8 total touchdowns, and I don't think they started using him the correct way till later on in the season, and that could have been because of the injuries, or it could have been the offense. But they need to get him more involved, and instead of playing 60% of the time, he needs to be in there 80% of the time. This is your main guy. Another guy I like is Geno Atkins. Everybody knows him. He had a little down year last year. Could have been the new system. Could have been injuries. But he only had 4.5 sacks last year, but 47 tackles. But he's the guy that they need to get going on that defense. Here's your draft picks. Look at the bottom right here. I said I wanted to highlight the whole class because that's what I've been doing. I highlight the players that I like. But this was actually a really good class right here. Burrow, good pick. Higgins, good pick. Logan Wilson could probably be a starter. Gaither could probably be a starter. These guys are all good picks. And this is probably one of the best draft classes of this year if they all pan out correctly. So that's why I said if you look at this is a pretty good draft. I would say one of the best drafts this year. Here's a depth chart of the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, Mixon. Look at A.J. Green. Look at their wide receiver position. That has to be the strength for them. Auden Tate and John Ross are right there. Those are top, could be starters on other teams, and they're right there. Uzma's going to have to prove what he has. But the only issue is going to be your offensive line. And can that offensive line step it up a little bit? Like I said, they gave up 48 sacks last year, so they need to step it up, protect this rookie, and help him out. Here's your defense. This defense, it wasn't that great last year. Carlos Dunlap, he's there. The guy I like right there is Sam Hubbard. I think he's coming around. Last year, he stepped up his game, 8.5 sacks. I like Von Bell at safety. He had Von Bell 89 tackles last year, interception, 2 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, and a sack and a half from the safety spot. William Jackson, he's going to do something in his 5th year. So this is a young defense. It could be improving, and we'll have to see what this defense does right here. Here's the schedule. If you look at it, the Chargers could be a good team, could be a bad team. It's a good little start, I would say, because the Chargers aren't like the elite team, and they're not a bad team. So it's going to see where you are right at the beginning. Then you got to play the Browns, and the Browns have potential. Then you play the Eagles. And then finally they get this should be an easy game. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars won't be great this year. But then for week 5, bam, that's your test. You want to see how good your team is, how close you are to actually competing and turning this program around. That's the best team to play, right? So it's going to be a tough schedule. You look at this schedule, it's not going to be easy. You can look at what I have them at. I have them at predicted at a 5-11 record. If everything goes good, if things start falling their way or teams are worse than they are, I could see them going 7-9. But I could also see them, dropping and a couple of injuries here and there, play calling here and there, a turnover here and there, and they can drop to 3-13. So that's what I have the Cincinnati Bengals going. And this is what I like to look at. This is their salary cap. So left this year, they still have $24 million to spend. They have to sign, they have to sign their rookie, so that's going to go down. But next year, look at next year, $80 million. That's the good thing. Of course, you're going to have your free agents. You're going to have A.J. Green, Mixon, John Ross, William Jackson are your free agents. So you got to look at that. And then the year after that, the 2020-22 season is where they're going to have some money. So if they could show improvement this year, they have the money next year to bring in some big guys, right? So that's my take on the 2020 Cincinnati Bengals. I just want to give you guys an insight on it, a quick insight, and look at it and see for yourself. Basically, look at your own. I like to show you what I look at when I base it. So, will they be an improved team? Yes. Are they a young team? Yes. Do they need a lot of work still? Yes. Can they get there? Yes. But will it be another hard, long season for Cincinnati Bengals fans? I believe so. All right, guys. I'm Joe Morley, and I thank you for watching.